and welcome to my channel. My name is Casey, and today I'm bringing you a reading just about what do you need to hear right now. No specific spreads, just, what messages from your spirit guides or the universe or your ancestors, whatever needs to come through, what do you need to hear in this moment? So I've got 3 different decks for you to choose from. Whichever one you feel most drawn to, whichever one has the right kind of energy for you. This first deck is the Your Feelings Are Valid Oracle deck. The second deck is the Prism Oracle deck. And the third one is the Voice of the Oracles, I think it's called, deck? Voice of the Souls, maybe. But anyways, go ahead and figure out which one you feel most drawn to. I'll leave timestamps down in the description box below so you can quickly jump to whichever reading is meant for you. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, pile 1. If you chose the Your Feelings Are Valid Oracle deck, then this is going to be the reading for you. And personally, I have actually just gone through what I'm seeing going on in your cards, so if anybody can give you a good message about this, it's somebody who's literally just been through it. So essentially, what I'm seeing in your cards here is you are starting to hit a wall. I think you're starting to feel burnt out. I think for a long while, whether you'd like to admit it to yourself or not, you're under a lot of stress. You're feeling tired and exhausted, and I think the reason that you're feeling all this is related to your career or a certain passion project that you're trying to get up off the ground, a certain creative pursuit that you really want to see succeed, but it hasn't quite yet seen the success that you had in your mind of like what the outcome needs to look like. And because you're putting so much emphasis on and focus on like it needs to reach this end goal, it needs to hit this deadline, it needs to blow up this big, it needs to do this, it needs to have this by this time, you're focusing so hard on all these things that are out of your control that is what's directly leading you to this stressed out, burnt out moment that you're currently going through. And the positive side that I have to tell you about it is what you're currently going through is not a sign that you're not going to succeed. You are just going through something that is inherently it's just negativity in your head. Like it's quite literally just in your head that's causing you to feel all this stress, this worry, this anxiety. So I at least want to give you that beneficial message that what you're feeling is not a sign that it's actually not going to succeed. I do see that you still have a ways to go. This is a part of your purpose, whatever it is that you're doing. You are meant to keep going, but what you're not meant to do is concern yourself with things that you have no business concerning yourself with. Like, when is it going to reach the right people? That's not up to you. That's up to the universe. That's up to things happening the way that they're meant to happen. And you're so stressed out trying to make things happen faster or make it happen when you want it to happen, that you're not allowing the grace of it to happen when it's meant to happen. You're trying to force your own ideas onto it when what you're doing, I think, is supposed to be I think what you're doing is very inherently creative. And the thing about creative energy is it's an inherently feminine energy. And when I say feminine and masculine energies, keep in mind that we kind of construe that to be like female, male. It has nothing to do with gender or sex. It's actually just, in the West we call it masculine and feminine energy, like divine masculine, divine feminine. But it's actually just another way to say positive or negative or yin and yang. And even positive and negative, it's not the connotation of good and bad. It's literally just energies. Positive energy, negative energy, polarity. So when I say that what you're currently going through is you're supposed to be more in your feminine energy, your yin energy. You're supposed to be receptive, receiving that creative flow. You're supposed to be if you know the Empress card, she's sitting back, she's relaxing, she's allowing abundance to grow around her. She's not forcing it. Now, if you try to delve too much into the masculine energy of forcing your own will upon this creation, it's not going to be creatively flowing. Creativity is meant to flow. It's supposed to be something that you receive. It's supposed to be something that you quote unquote download, like it comes to you. It's not something that you force to come. It's not something that you force to succeed. And so you're actually meant to back off of the, masculine energy of trying to force your will upon it And just sit back, allow yourself to do the creating, allow yourself to remember why you love this thing in the first place, and just do it for the fun of it instead of focusing on the end goal. Because once you can kind of de-stress and let go of trying to force it to happen when you want it to happen, and just allowing the universe to make things happen for you, it's going to lift this burden off of you. And I think that is a big thing that you need to do right now to stop what you're going through. Because what I see here is you have gloom and worn out, which are pretty self-explanatory, but gloom is clarified by the King of Wands reversed. And it's directly clarified by this King of Wands. Wands is the suit of passion, of fire, of creative energy, creative forces. When it's reversed, you're not in your power. You're taking focus away from your creativity, taking focus away from your passion, and putting it towards stress and deadlines and the business aspect and the networking or whatever aspect, instead of just putting all your focus into the creation itself and letting the rest be up to the universe. You right now, the best thing that you could do for yourself is go hands off of all the things that you're stressed out of, and essentially just say, like, I'm letting go of this. This is up to the universe. It'll happen when it's meant to happen. Say that as many times as you possibly can, because you don't have any control over it. So what's the point of trying to control it? When you can stop focusing so much on that and get back into this creative flow, all this gloom that you're feeling is going to start to be like this weight lifted off of your shoulders. And what I see with this worn out card clarified by the Wheel of Fortune, I think that you're really tired because I think that you kept expecting this to hit certain deadlines. You expected it to blow up by a certain date. And I think that this is something that can stem from, if you watch a lot of these YouTube tarot readings, something that I don't really think is ethical, especially in general readings meant for a lot of people, is saying that it's going to be successful by this specific date. Because the thing about tarot readings is, even if it was a personal tarot reading between you and me only and not a general reading to a lot of different people, is I can only, through tarot, not everything is perfectly predetermined. There's still free will. There's still mistakes to happen along the way. So I can give you a good idea of what the most likely outcome is, but I cannot tell you for certain when something is going to happen. And so if you've been dealing with a lot of different readers that are like, yes, by 2023, it's going to happen, or by July, it's going to happen, by September, by October, and then here you are in October, and you're like, they said that it's going to happen by now. Why hasn't it happened by now? That's the thing, is none of us know what's truly going to happen. Tarot and divination in general is just a likely prediction of the likely future, but it's not an exact science because we still have free will. Just by the fact that you're viewing these videos is kind of altering your mindset towards things. It's altering the decisions that you might make about certain things, and therefore throwing you on a different path. Now, of course, take what you believe, leave what you don't. Maybe you believe in it differently. But in my personal experience, especially if this is something that you care a lot about and you want it to succeed as soon as possible, getting your hopes up over and over again by saying, like, yes, it's going to happen by this date, is just going to make you feel so disheartened when it doesn't come by that date. And so what I will tell you is this is absolutely something that you will succeed at. This is absolutely something that is meant for you. I definitely see that this is a part of a higher purpose for you. You are not meant to stop doing this, but you're not meant to know all the answers. No matter how badly we want to know all the answers, our ego wants to have control over everything, we just can't. And the best thing that you can do is learn how to let go of holding on so tightly to trying to control what we simply can't control. You can't control when a post is going to reach a certain person. When it comes across their For You page, or when the right person will see your artwork, or when a certain manuscript will get published or get picked up by a publishing house. I don't really know how writing works, but you know what I'm saying? You can't control those things, so stop trying to focus so much on it, and instead just focus on what you have control of. Your creativity, your creative energy, doing what you love. Focus on those things, focus on yourself, and this will come in due time. Because trying so hard to control it is just pushing you further towards burnout. So something that I'm actually going to recommend, which it's kind of interesting that this is the first reading that I've done since posting. My podcast is, I actually just started a podcast, and this is actually the first time I'm plugging it, so I'm sorry if it sounds really butchered and weird, but I'm personally on my own journey of becoming an online creator, an online entrepreneur, and it's a really difficult process. And I decided that I wanted to not only document the process through a podcast, but also talk about what I'm personally going through and how I get through it. And the reason I said at the beginning of your reading that I'm probably the best person to talk to you about this is because I literally just went through this last week, and I was writing in my notes app, like, the next week's episode that I do is going to be all about how I deal with burnout, how I overcome that, especially when I'm trying to do something creative. So if you personally are trying to be a creative of some kind, trying to start your own business, even if it's not inherently creative, maybe that podcast is for you. Maybe there's a reason that you felt drawn to my specific video. So I think it's definitely linked in my shop. It's on Spotify. It's linked. I might link it in the description of this video. But it's up to you whether or not you want to check it out. But if you're currently dealing with creative burnout, I'm going to be talking about how I personally deal with that, how I get back on the metaphorical horse or wagon or whatever. But anyways, back to your reading. What I see here for you with the last two cards, you have Relieved and the Five of Swords reversed. What you need to hear right now is all this stress and burnout that you're currently under, it will all go away once you can just let go. Because I can see, like, internally your spirit is just fighting. You are just constantly fighting to have control over something that you don't have control over. But what I mean by fighting is you're devoting so much of your energy to it that you don't have enough energy left over for yourself. So you might be feeling really exhausted, even if you're sleeping like 8 hours a night or more. You wake up feeling exhausted. You can barely get through the day. You feel like you have no energy reserves. And it's because even when you're unconscious, you're still mentally trying to control something out of your control. Your energy is trying to fight for this thing to work out. But like I said, it's something that you can't fight for. It's something that you can't control or change. So you need to pull back your energy and keep it to yourself. Find ways to give it back to yourself. And when you do that, when you can finally let go of all this stress and trying to hold on so tight, you're going to feel relieved. You're going to feel a weight come off of you, and suddenly you're going to have all this positive energy back. You're going to have your energy back. And when you do, that's going to be the perfect time to continue to create. Because you need to be able to give that energy back to yourself. If it's being spread out to all these different areas, trying to focus on all these different things, you have nothing left over for yourself. And then that's when your work starts to suffer. And then the whole thing just spirals into, I can't get this done. I'm not feeling good about it. I'm starting to hate it. I'm starting to not want to do it anymore. And you don't want to be in that headspace. Being a creative and doing something inherently creative is very difficult, because especially if you want to turn it into a business, it's so much harder to balance those feminine and masculine energies, of the feminine energy of just sitting back waiting for it to happen, but also wanting to be in that masculine energy of controlling when it happens. But you just can't do that. So right now you need to be giving back to yourself. You need to be dealing with this burnout that you're currently under and figuring out how to get back into the creative flow instead of focusing so much on the end goal. And like I said, I really do encourage you to check out my podcast. And it's not something that I intend to make money off of. I literally just started it last night. It's more of like a passion project of, I want to be able to help people that are going through the same things that I'm going through. And I feel like if you really resonated with this pile, you and I are kind of going through the same things. And if you feel like you have nobody around you that understands what you're going through, I mean, my podcast is literally titled Figuring It Out. Like, I'm just figuring it out as I go. So, maybe we can figure it out together. But pile one, that is everything that I have for you. I truly wish you the best on this journey. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. All right, pile two. If you chose the Prism Oracle deck, then this is going to be the reading for you. And for you, I think what you need to hear right now is you need to admit, at least to yourself, how you're truly feeling. Because I feel like you often keep your emotions really close to your chest. You don't really like to be vulnerable with other people. And I think that there's something that you haven't gotten over it yet. And you're trying to appear like everything is fine, like you're not as depressed as you are right now. But in reality, there's a lot of pain going on within you. And I want you to imagine that your pain is another version of you. Let's say it's your inner child, or let's say it's somebody else. If that person was in pain and was suffering, are you just gonna throw a sheet over them and cover them up and just let them suffer in silence and pretend like they're not there? Pretend like they're not in pain? What if it was a close friend of yours? Are you just gonna tell them to shut up, be quiet, and just deal with it? No. You would want to take care of them. You would ask them what's wrong. But you won't do that for yourself. You're essentially treating yourself like somebody that doesn't deserve to feel their emotions, like they deserve to just, get over it. No, you shouldn't be feeling this way. You should be over it. And the truth is, our heart doesn't have a timer on it. It doesn't have a time that says okay, in 30 minutes I'll be over this. No, you're going to be in pain for as long as you're in pain. Even if, whatever happened, if it was a breakup, or maybe you lost a close friend of yours, maybe there was a loss of a family member. Whatever it is, you can't just tell yourself to get over it. You're going to feel this pain for as long as you feel it. Maybe you didn't get into the school that you wanted. Maybe you lost your job and you're trying to pretend like it didn't really happen. But the only person that you really have is yourself. Other people around you, you could gamble on the risk that, maybe they're going to shut me out. Maybe they're not going to help me. Maybe it's going to be bad if I am trying to be vulnerable with them. Or maybe it'll go really good. If you're scared to take that leap of being vulnerable with those around you, you at least need to have yourself. You at least need to know that you have your own back, that you're going to take your own feelings into account, that you're going to accept whatever you're going through, face it head on and say, I've got your back. To yourself, because if you're not able to open up to anybody else, at least have yourself. Because this pain is going untreated, like a wound. It's like if somebody had their arm cut really badly, and like I said, you just threw a sheet over them and pretended like they're not hurt. You are very deeply hurt, and you deserve to be taken care of. And I think you have this false facade of confidence, and you're pretending like you're fine, you're all right, but it's just this mask that's covering up the fact that you haven't moved on. Underneath, you're still very hurt, you're still very broken, you're feeling a lot of turmoil. And the thing about these emotions is the more you try to cover it up and pretend like it's not there, the stronger those feelings will become. The longer they're left untreated, the more it's gonna just... It's like if you plugged up a bathtub of dirty water and you just tried to let it sit there and be like, it'll evaporate eventually, it'll go away eventually. But instead of evaporating and going away, it just got dirtier and dirtier and dirtier. Like if you had just pulled that plug, you could have cleaned it up a long time ago. But you've gotten to this point where it's like you can barely get through life. You're feeling like something is really wrong, and it's because you're betraying your own feelings. And I see you're under a lot of pain right now because you haven't been able to fully move on. And the only way that you can fully move on is to face something head on. Like I said, the more you try to turn away from it, the more it's just going to rear its head, especially in moments when you're alone or it's at night and you have no other distractions. That's when you feel it the worst. And if you just keep trying to push it away, it's like I said. And what you need to hear right now is you have the magic card clarified by the Hermit. When you go down this path of allowing yourself to heal, facing things head on, which in order to do this, I encourage you to try journaling or try just speaking aloud. Maybe record it with a voice memo, maybe just speak aloud to yourself, but speak honestly and truthfully about what you're going through. Journal about it in any way that you can get it out, because have you ever spoken to anybody about how you're really feeling about this? Have you even admitted to yourself how you're really feeling about this? I think just by admitting it to yourself and talking to yourself about it will be very therapeutic for you. And I also encourage, if you have access to speak to a therapist about it, talk to them about it. They're literally paid to listen to you and find ways to help you get through this. So that would be a great resource to do so. But I get a big feeling from your cards that you're somebody that doesn't really enjoy vulnerability. Maybe you have a really hard time being honest about your emotions with others. But you need to learn to at least be honest about them to yourself. Because like I said, you're the only person in this world that you can trust to have your back. And right now, if you're not doing that, these emotions, this pain, this inner child that is hurt has nowhere to go, has nowhere to let out these emotions. And when you can develop a positive relationship with yourself, I think that's the reason that you have this magic card, because it's gonna unravel so much love and trust for yourself. It's going to completely change you from the inside out to the point where you're gonna have this true sense of confidence, not this false facade that you put up to pretend like you're confident, but you're gonna be radiating like this true confident energy that you've got your back, you trust yourself, you know yourself inside and out. That's when you see a person, you're like, oh my God, yeah, they know what's up. That's a really confident person right there. I think this is just one step along a bigger, longer journey towards you being really in tune with yourself, being really in tune with your mental health, your spiritual health, and also finding your true confidence, your true self-empowerment. I think for a long time, that's been something that's been really neglected, and trying to cover it up with this false sense of empowerment is just, honestly, if anything, that just shows how much you lack true confidence. Because I feel like some people, they can see right through that false confidence, and for a long time, you're just this scared inner child trying to cover up your pain. And it's time for you to face it head on, to be the true version of yourself, the empowered version of yourself. But the first step to doing that is developing a positive relationship with yourself. And like I said, some ways that you can do this is just journaling honestly, openly about yourself. You don't need to show anybody this. In fact, you could burn it afterwards. But just getting those words on the page, or speaking aloud to yourself when you're alone, and admitting the things that you're so afraid to admit about yourself, admitting, that you're still going through this pain, will be the thing that eventually helps you move on and accept it. And that's when your whole life from there, the first step to living the kind of life that you want to live is self-improvement, is improving yourself, starting with yourself, and then that's when everything else starts to improve around you. So, pile 2, that is everything that I have for you. I had a feeling that your reading was meant to be shorter than the others, which, if you enjoy longer readings, then you're probably like, well, I didn't want a short reading, but I had a feeling that it just needed to be straight and to the point, just this one message, because it's this one message about just developing a better relationship with yourself and being honest and true to yourself about your emotions that you really needed to hear. And I feel like if there was a ton of messages all over the place, it would have made that one not stand out as much. So you were just meant to hear this one message, and I really encourage you to do the things that I listed and find what works for you. But you can no longer cover up these emotions. You can no longer suppress them. And it's time to at least admit them to yourself. It doesn't mean you need to go declaring all your emotions to everyone around you, but, just being true to yourself and knowing that at least you have your back will build a lot of trust and confidence in yourself. And I think that that's something that is sorely needed. So, pile 2, that is everything that I have for you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. Wow, okay. Pile 3. This is for those of you that chose the Voice of the Souls Oracle deck. This isn't gonna be a very happy message. I think it's something that you have to hear, and I've never done a reading like this before, so that's why I sound a little apprehensive. But I always aim to be as honest as possible in my readings, and I of course want you to know that if this doesn't resonate with you, if you are positive that this message isn't for you, you don't need to claim it. It probably isn't for you, but there are some people out there that do need to hear this, and the reason I want you to be so discerning is because this is going to be a really sensitive topic, and I don't want people to start questioning their partners unwittingly, And the message that I think that is here for you today, if this resonates deeply with you, if you feel called to this, if this really feels like this message is meant for you, it's a message about your partner and their infidelity. And I don't say that at all lightly. This is going to be for those of you who have had, an inkling of, what if. Those of you who have already had the thoughts in your mind, or maybe you've had your own worries, but maybe your partner brushed them aside, or maybe your partner said, you don't need to worry about that person, but you had this feeling in your gut. this is coming to you in a time that I get specifically from your spirit guides, like they want you to know that you're not crazy. Your gut feeling is absolutely right. You should trust yourself, and they basically wanted you to have this trust in yourself and in your intuition and not be gaslit in another direction, so that you can trust your own thoughts, trust what you see, trust what, if you feel like you're being lied to be able to trust yourself and not second guessing all these things, because you're absolutely right. I think that, if this pile is meant for you, I think that this pile is meant for you if you've had this kind of thought that they might be doing this, that they might be cheating on you, that there might be something shady going on. And this reading is coming to you to reaffirm that. If you've been worried about it, like legitimately think that there's something going on, this reading is coming to you with, you have two cards that say, one says karmic message and one says spiritual message. And when I tell you that out of this deck of like how many cards, very little of them are black. Like the majority are these white ones. And all that to say is the fact that you have two that are basically saying the same thing, that this is a message coming from your spirit guides, is coming from spirit directly to you, shows just how important this message is for you to hear. And the reason that I think that this has to do with infidelity is because you have karmic message, clarified by the Ace of Cups. It's a karmic message about your love, your emotions. The Ace of Cups is all about depth of love and emotions, and I think you have so much love to give. You bond very closely with people, you give them a lot of love, and I think for a long time, even if this person was loyal to you, even if they weren't cheating on you, I think that they were still taking advantage of all the love that you had to give, all the kindness that you had to give, when they themselves weren't giving you as much as you deserve. I think that you've always been somebody that gives more than you receive, and that's not a good thing. You deserve to have just as much as you give, but it's like, I don't know, maybe you feel like you don't deserve it, or maybe you feel like you are required to give this much of yourself, but I think that it's been a long time coming that you're meant to get out of this relationship, for a lot more reasons than just the infidelity. And I think a big one that you're getting here is how you have so much love to give. You are such a positive, kind soul, and you don't deserve to have that stamped out by somebody else. You don't deserve to have all that love that you have to give to be dumped out on the floor and taken for granted, taken advantage of, so that you have nothing left over to give to others. Because something that can happen is sometimes people get hurt so badly that they just kind of close up shop, and this cup that was once overflowing is now barren. And Spirit says that one of the purposes in your life is to be one of these beacons of light and love, and you can't do that if somebody takes that light and that spark away from you. And I think that there's also here with spiritual message clarified by the Hanged Man reversed, I think that this person that you're with has also been very controlling. And this is a second reason that this relationship isn't what you're meant to have. Because not only is there infidelity going on that I think is just going to be the final straw, the thing that allows you to admit to yourself that this relationship isn't meant for you, it's not meant to be salvaged, because there's already these other things going on, this person taking advantage of your love and your kindness, not giving it back, but also with the Hanged Man reversed. This is very much giving me the image of somebody who's being controlled, not allowed to go out, you're not allowed to wear that, you're not allowed to talk to those people, you're not allowed to do this thing because it makes me feel insecure, you're not allowed to go out here because, you're only allowed to go out with me. Meanwhile, this person is out with some other people, cheating, and they're trying to tell you what you can and cannot do. This person obviously has a lot of insecurities, they have a lot of negative emotions within themselves that they need to deal with, but that's not your responsibility. You have a responsibility to yourself to make sure that you're not being hurt, you're not being taken advantage of, you're not being used, you're not being stamped out or just being covered up. And this relationship has really just darkened you. You are this bright, beautiful soul that deserves to be able to shine, deserves to be able to give love and receive love. And for a long time, that spark has been hidden by this person. And finally, with the physical pain card clarified by the Three of Cups, if you look up the Three of Cups, A lot of it has to do with like socializing, friends, but something that people say is also third-party situation, which leads me to believe that there could be infidelity going on the part of this person. Now, this is a general reading. It's going to be different for everybody. Maybe it's possible that your partner isn't cheating on you, but if you resonate with these things, you gotta ask yourself, is this somebody you really want to be with? Is this somebody that you would want your daughter or your son to be with? Or, your siblings, would you encourage them to stay with somebody that treats them like this? I don't think that you would. So don't force yourself to be with somebody who's hurting you. I think you've always been a healer, and that's probably why you gravitate towards this person so much, is you want to heal them. You want to help them. You hate to see that they're in pain. People just don't understand that, they can be really great sometimes. And I understand that, but at the same time, sometimes people need to heal themselves. This person's not your responsibility. This is a full-grown adult. And you have a responsibility to protect yourself. If they really wanted to heal, they could heal themselves. They could find a way. They could find a therapist. They could find a way to heal themselves. It's not your responsibility to heal them, especially if you barely have any time to take care of yourself. But these readings are not meant to be making decisions for you. They are just meant to bring awareness to you. I'm not going to tell you to, what to do with your life, but I wanted to bring to your attention what's going on, that you might be shutting your eyes to, or that you might be gaslit away from, or the things that you might be told like, oh, that didn't actually happen, you're crazy. Those things did happen. Trust your gut. And if your gut is telling you it's time to get out of here, well, I highly encourage you to do that. I am not going to advocate for you to stay in this relationship, but at the same time, it's a general reading, and I'm not going to advocate for any life-changing decisions, because I don't know you, you don't know me, but Spirit really wanted to bring these issues to your attention so that you can do with that what you will. So, Pile 3, I really wish you the best, and if you are in a dangerous situation, there are resources online. If you really feel like this is a danger to your life or to your health, or this person is really damaging you mentally, I encourage you to reach out to those that you feel like will support you. Reach out to those that maybe you've hidden certain things about this relationship from them because maybe you'd find it embarrassing. In truth, there are people out there that would be willing to help you, get out of this situation if it's a truly dangerous situation. Of course, I would never advocate for anybody to stay in dangerous or abusive situations like that, but Pile 3, that is everything that I have for you. I hope that this message found you when you needed it the most, and thank you so much for watching. It's everything that I have for you. Bye-bye.